All right, guys, we are back in my garage for another video. And if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you know I love to DIY. If there's anything that I feel like I can do, I will try it in my garage and hopefully not have a bad time. But I know a lot of you guys are new to this, and a really common question I get is, what tools do you need to work on your B58? Because heaven forbid you get started on a job and it seems pretty easy, and then you get to the last step and realize you don't have the right tool, and then you go look to find a place to buy it and it's only available online, and it just becomes a huge hassle. So in this video, I'm going to try to lay out all of the most frequently used tools that I use to do maintenance, upgrades, and everything in between, to hopefully give you a heads up on what you should buy before you start working on your B58. So let's go ahead and talk about it, and hopefully you guys find this video useful. Now, before we dive into the list, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment, and if you're already working on your car, what do you think is the most important tool or most frequently used tool that you found, or even your favorite tool? What's something that made the job a lot easier for you? Definitely curious to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, shameless plug, but I will have my Amazon store linked in the video description, and the store is always updated with the tools that I use to work on my car. So I literally list the exact same tools you see me use in my video on my Amazon store so that you guys can buy it for yourself. Now, keep in mind, those are affiliate links, so they do help support the channel, but nothing is different on your end. It doesn't make it more expensive. You still get to use all of your Amazon Prime benefits and stuff like that. It just kind of made it easy for me to put everything in a central location so that you guys can keep up with the tools that I use. So bookmark that link. I frequently update it with tools and products and things that I review on the channel so that you can always make sure that you're ready and have everything in your garage. So to start off the list, let's start with a jack and jack stands. And that's something that pretty much everybody knows you're going to need to work on your car. But with BMW platforms, it might be a little different from what you're used to, because pretty much by default, you're going to need a low profile jack. Any 340, M340, any kind of performance chassis is going to be pretty low to the ground, much lower than a lot of other cars on the road. And so that makes it really difficult to access the jack points. So highly recommend getting a low profile jack. I got mine from Harbor Freight, and it's been working great for nearly 10 years. I also got Harbor Freight jack stands. I know, but hear me out. So I got them before the recall and all of that stuff, so they really shouldn't have any issues. But they also have a really nice adapter that you can buy that fits perfectly into BMW jack pads. So that's what I've been using recently, and it fits right in the slot. It holds the car up without damaging it. And if you ever want to use the regular jack stand on a different car, you can simply unscrew them and remove them from the jack stand. So it's really convenient. In some of my older videos, I'm sure you've seen me use microfiber towels and stuff underneath the jack pads to try to prevent them from being damaged. But eventually they just get chewed up and I kept having to replace them. So this was a nice foolproof way to just make sure that I don't damage them while still having the safety and support I want with using the OEM jack pads. And of course, after that, you're gonna need a bunch of basic tools. So you're gonna need sockets and socket wrenches. You're gonna need box wrenches, all of the normal screwdrivers and stuff that you would get in a really basic kit. Some of the most common sizes you're going to need is for sockets. You'll definitely need 8mm and 10mm sockets. Those are going to be the main ones for all of the trays underneath the car. So if you're ever removing under panels and stuff, that's what you're going to need. You also need a 13mm socket for some things, although I usually end up using a 1/2-inch socket. It just seems to fit better. So either a 1/2-inch or a 13mm socket for those specific connections. You're going to need a 17mm socket for your stock wheel bolts as well. So make sure you've got that. And you'll also need a 16mm socket for your engine bay strut brace, which is one of the first steps that you need to remove for most jobs in your engine bay. So that's definitely something you're going to want as well. Now, going into something a little less likely, you're also going to need Torx bits. This is something I've only really had to use on European cars, but they are very common out there. So you're definitely going to need things like a T15, T20, T25, and T30 to do basic upgrades and stuff on your car. Think like high pressure fuel pump upgrades, or if you ever need to remove your bumper to upgrade heat exchangers and stuff like that, you're going to need these Torx sizes. but there are also some bigger ones on our cars as well. So you'll want everything up to at least a T60. On my car, I used a T60 to remove the flywheel bolts, and there might have been some others as well. So yes, they do get pretty big, and while most Torx bit kits only go up to T50, I would recommend finding one that goes up to a T60 so you never get stuck. You're also going to need various Allen wrenches, but I highly recommend getting extended ones with a ball seat. This is going to make it much easier to access some of the areas where they are. This is especially useful for upgrades, like if you're upgrading your high pressure fuel pump or your intake manifold. A lot of those kits replace the hex bolts or the Torx bolts with bolts that require an Allen wrench. So what you're going to want to do is get those wrenches so that you can make sure not only are you able to access it, but also if you need to come at it at a kind of weird angle, you'll still be able to get a secure grip on the bolt to loosen or tighten it as needed. And then probably the most basic but frequently forgotten is a torque wrench. I absolutely recommend getting a torque wrench. As you guys have seen in some of my videos, there are torque requirements for pretty much every bolt on our car, and I don't believe that you need to use it for every single bolt. But a lot of critical components do require it, and you're going to want to make sure that you can torque it to spec to keep your car safe when it gets on the road. Now, of course, you're going to want to start off with the big 1/2-inch drive usual torque wrench that you see. That's what's going to make sure that you can tighten things like your wheels and suspension components and things like that with adequate torque. So again, you can keep your car safe while you're driving. But I also recommend getting a smaller one, either a 3/8 inch or even better, a 1/4 inch drive. You can use that on things like your turbo bolts or your high pressure fuel pump bolts, things that are not just smaller, but also in tighter spaces that can be a lot more difficult to access if you only have the bigger torque wrench. Also, a lot of those bolts have a much lower torque requirement. And so when you use those smaller torque wrenches that are better calibrated to that lower torque range, you'll get a much more accurate torque reading. So instead of trying to use that huge torque wrench to hit 12 Newton meters, now you can use a much smaller one and be more accurate with your work. Now, even with all those common things, you're going to need some specialty equipment in those same categories. So for example, with your sockets, it's very likely that you're going to need some bigger ones. So let's go ahead and start with wheels. And if you're going to do what I did and replace your lug bolts with studs, then you're going to need to increase your wheel stud socket to a 19 millimeter. That's because the stud takes up a lot of space, so the nut has to be bigger in order to, make everything work safely. So get a deep socket, 19 millimeter, preferably one of the ones that are protected around the edge. As you can see, mine is very well used, but that's something that's going to help protect the wheel so that you don't scratch it up inside of the wheel lug holes. Then even bigger, you're going to need a 21 or 22 millimeter socket to do some things like if you're replacing your timing chain tensioner, if you ever need to remove your Vanos bolts at the back of the engine to remove your cams, some bigger and more rare jobs. But again, you get to the point where you're at the last step of doing it and realize you don't have the right tool for the job. So get a couple bigger sockets. I just got like a huge impact wrench kit that went all the way up to 30 millimeters, and that pretty much covered me for everything I needed. Except one thing, you are also going to need a 32 millimeter socket for your oil filter. The oil filter housing has a cap that requires a 32 millimeter socket to unscrew it. I don't know why it's so big. I guess it helps to make sure that you don't damage it or strip it out, but it doesn't require a crazy amount of torque or anything. And it's in such a tight space that it's actually a little bit annoying to use. So just keep that in mind. Get a shallow 32 millimeter socket, one that's as short as you can get. And it's probably going to be a 1/2 inch drive. So if you have a regular socket wrench, you can get an adapter from 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch and then put an extension on it to get your oil filter out. You're also going to need some bigger box wrenches than you probably typically use. I had to get a 50 millimeter box wrench because that's the size of the nut that connects your drive shaft to your differential. So if you ever plan on replacing your diff and upgrading to an LSD or upgrading your drive shaft to handle more torque, you're going to need one of these huge 50 millimeter wrenches in order to remove the drive shaft nut. Then there are the Etorx bolts, and this was something that I only ran into when I got to BMWs. I've used sockets, I've used regular Torx, but Etorx was brand new. It's basically an inverted Torx. So instead of having a Torx bolt that you stick the star into and unscrew, now the bolt is the star and you have basically the inverted shape on the socket to remove the bolt. This is everywhere. So just again, get a full kit. I recommend getting a kit that goes up at least to E18. That's going to make sure that you can remove things like your valve cover, your strut brace, you know, everything on your car that has those various bolts. Even your spark plugs require Etorx because that's what's holding your coil packs down. So get a full kit and that'll make sure that you can do all of the work needed. There are a couple suspension bolts that are bigger as well. I believe it goes up to like E20 or E22. So if you plan on doing things that require removing your control arms and stuff like that, make sure you get a kit with slightly higher Torx bits, and that will make sure that you can get those off as well. Now moving on from all the different types of sockets and wrenches, if you're going to be doing your brakes, you need to make sure that you have a punch and a hammer. And again, this is just something that's very rare because not a lot of people use punches on cars, but that's something that you need because the pin holding your brake pads on needs to be basically hammered out. And I've shown a DIY on how to use it on my channel. It's actually extremely simple, much easier than a more traditional like sliding caliper. But if you have Brembos on your car, you're absolutely going to need that in order to get your brake pads out. Now, the other thing is if you have a G-Series car where you have Brembos in the front but sliding calipers in the rear, you're going to need a brake caliper retraction tool. This will allow you to retract the caliper piston in the rear caliper so that you can swap the brake pads there. This is something that you can try to do by completely disassembling the back of your caliper, but it really doesn't need all that, and it's a little bit sketchy to take your parking brake apart. Whereas with this kit, you just kind of put the fitting right on top of the caliper and twist, and it screws it back into the caliper housing. So it just is a much safer and OEM style way to retract the piston to do your brake pad service. Next, for all of your drivetrain services, you're going to need a fluid extraction pump. And what this does is it allows you to not only suck out old fluid, but pump in new fluid. Now, there are a couple different tools that you can use depending on exactly what you're doing. If it's your front diff, your rear diff, your transfer case, your transmission, you know, it really just depends. But because so many of those components don't have a drain plug because they're not actually designed to be serviced, it is something that you want to make sure you have with a correct fitting to suck out the old fluid before you pump new fluid in. This is a service that I do about every 60,000 miles or so, except for the transfer case, like on my X7. I'm going to be cutting that service in half just because transfer case problems are pretty common, but you can do it very frequently and the fluid itself isn't that expensive. And with this kit, it makes it really easy to do. So make sure you get your fluid extraction pump. I use the same pump on pretty much all of the components since all of them basically use the same fluid. So I'm not really too worried about cross-contamination or anything. It is a little messy, but it just makes it easy to do at home. The other thing you're going to want is a specialty oil drain wrench. And the reason is because, again, for things like your front diff or your transfer case, they are in very close proximity to the other components in your engine bay. So it can be pretty difficult to access the fill or drain bolts. And this just makes it super easy to get it in a really tight space and do the work that you need versus trying to fit a socket wrench with extensions and stuff like that. So highly recommend getting that. It works on everything, even where you have a bunch of space. It just makes it super simple. And then we can't finish this off without talking about BMW specific specialty tools. So these are things that aren't going to be used on any other car, but for your B58, you're going to want it, especially if you plan on doing certain maintenance items or upgrades. The most common one we talk about is the fuel injector removal tool. This is going to allow you to safely remove your injectors so that they can be not only taken out of the cylinder head without damage, but also reinstalled properly and keeping everything in a position where it should be to avoid leaks. So it is a full kit to remove and install your injectors. The challenge is, yes, I know not only is it possible to remove your injectors without the tool, but it's frequently attempted. And what sometimes can happen is you can break the injectors, you can snap them off in the cylinder head and cause a lot of issues, especially if you have a higher mileage car where the injectors are really stuck in there. So this allows you to really slowly and safely pull the injector out to minimize the chance of damaging it or breaking anything so that you can hopefully get them out without an issue. It also comes with the alignment tool that allows you to make sure that all of the injectors are installed on a level plane so that, you know, when you screw them down, it's all flat and even to prevent you from having leaks when you get it all reinstalled. So highly recommend getting it. It will pay for itself, especially if you do maintenance on your injectors or upgrades on your injectors, and somebody's always looking for it. So if you can't find a used one, you can always sell yours used to somebody else that needs it. Another one is the spark plug tool, and this one seems really weird because how difficult can it be to remove spark plugs? BMW found a way. So the thing is, you need a 14mm 12-point socket, but a regular socket won't work. You need a thin wall socket. So when you get a thin wall socket and remove your spark plugs, it usually works pretty easily. But then when you reinstall it, there is a chance that your spark plug will get stuck in the hole. And when you try to pull it out, you're only going to come out with your extension and the socket's going to get stuck down in there. So what they've done is they've made this tool that not only has the thin wall socket on the end, but also is permanently fixed with a wobble connection onto this extension. So that allows you to access your spark plugs and have the force and retention that you need to make sure that it comes out with the actual extension. I've had this happen multiple times. It is extremely frustrating. So just save yourself the headache and get this tool. The only thing I think that would make it better is if it had like a magnet inside to hold the spark plug in place. But for now, I just use a separate magnet to pull the spark plug out and then reinstall it down into the hood safely. Another one we can't forget is a coolant vacuum fill tool. And this is really important because not only is it much faster than trying to just fill it up and bleed it the normal way, but also because these tools will allow you to work around a car that does not have a proper bleed design. The issue is that your intake manifold is actually higher than your reservoir for your coolant. And so because of that, you don't have an easy time getting air out of the system. All of the air actually wants to go into the intake manifold, which is probably the worst place for it because that will hurt your cooling, increase your IATs, and make the car slower. So on a Gen 1 car, thankfully, it does have a bleeder hose on top. But what ends up happening is that bleeder hose is pushing hot coolant out of the intercooler right back into the reservoir and bypasses your heat exchangers up front. It's a very weird design. So if you're like me and you've deleted that, or if you have a Gen 2 where it doesn't even have that bleeder hose at all, it's imperative to get this vacuum fill tool and get it done properly so that you can make sure you suck out all the air and fill everything up with coolant to avoid pockets of air in your intercooler. And again, like I said, it's much faster than filling it up the old way. You still can do the electronic bleeding method where you turn the heat on high and hit the pedal and stuff like that. But this just makes the job 90% faster. And then the last but not the least is going to be the latest tool that I've bought, and this is the low pressure fuel pump removal tool. So what this does is it attaches onto the ring inside of your engine, and when you twist it, it pops the ring off. And it sounds relatively simple, it is, but the challenge is if you're like me, you've got a long history of just using a screwdriver and a hammer and trying to hammer the ring off and then hammer it back on. And it works okay, but it's much more difficult. It takes a lot more time. And because of, the space, especially like in my 440, it's really cramped in the back seat. So it can just be really annoying. So I finally sucked it up and bought the tool. Absolute game changer. Literally takes 2 seconds to pop that ring off and securely tighten it back on when you're done. So I highly recommend getting that if you plan on replacing your low pressure fuel pump. And again, you can either find them used on the market or sell it after you use it and get some of your money back. So yeah, this list actually was a lot longer than I anticipated, but those are all of the tools that I use to work on my car. I highly recommend at least getting the basic tools just so you can do simple things like oil changes and stuff like that. But of course, in the future, if you plan on doing any upgrades and shooting for more performance, then of course there are additional tools that will make your job easy. So again, check out my Amazon store. Like I said, I'll keep that updated with all the tools I use, the parts I test, and everything in between. Just keep that bookmarked so you can check it from time to time if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest. But otherwise, I think that's it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.